Hi, I'm Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and it's an honor to be here. And I'm going to tell you the story of our song, Everlong. Everlong was written, I think, in 1996, probably in the winter of 96 when we were making our second album, The Color and the Shape. You know, if you've ever been in a studio with a band for a long period of time and you're recording multiple songs, you know, there's a lot of time just sort of sitting around waiting for something to happen. And in that time, I remember sitting in like an isolation booth, looking out at the other guys in the band, waiting in between takes to play. And it was at a studio outside of Seattle called, I think it was called Bear Creek or something like that. Kind of like this weird house and barn outside of town. So I was sitting in the isolation booth waiting to do a take of another song, and I just started playing this chord. Now, I'm not a trained musician, so I don't know what that chord is. I don't know what you would call it. I can't read music. I'm not sure. But I immediately was like, oh, that kind of sounds like Sonic Youth is the first thing I thought. One of my favorite bands of all time, Sonic Youth. I'm like, wow, that's such a cool Sonic Youth chord. So I was kind of playing with it, and then I kind of realized, oh, well, I could do that as well. What's that chord? No clue. Don't know what it's called. Don't know anything about guitar. But I realized you could sort of move it around. And so in between takes, I would kind of mess around with this thing, you know, strum around with it. Now at the time, I was breaking up with a girl that I had been with for a while. So I was sort of in the middle of this intense emotional period. And for whatever reason, the emotion or the feeling I got when I would play this succession of chords sort of touched on whatever that emotion was. So we continued recording. In the meantime, my relationship ended, and I was in a very difficult place. I remember it was right around Christmas. I went back to Virginia, where I grew up, and at this point, the song had sort of evolved into Now also, not to get too like muso-technical or whatever, because I'm not a trained guitar player, I actually look at this guitar, at this instrument, like it's a drum set. So I look at the lower strings like kicks and snares, and I look at the higher strings almost as if they're cymbals. So the pattern in which I'm strumming, it's almost like a kick drum pattern, like do do da do da da do da do do da do da da da, like that. Anyway, so because of the emotional place I was in, I started writing the lyrics to this song, and they come from a real place. So the song started to come together, and I wanted to record it quickly so I didn't forget it. I had a friend named Jeff Turner in Washington, D.C., one of my old punk rock friends from the 80s. He had a studio next to this great bar called the Black Cat on 14th Street. And I said, hey, could I come in and just do a demo really quick? He said, sure. And without having it fully formed, I just kind of went in. I put down a drum track. I put down the guitars and the bass, and I sang it into a microphone for the first time. And it did seem to make sense. The lyric and the melody at the time where I was emotionally, it all made sense. And I think that that's what songs should be. They should be something that not only the tone or the melody or dynamic of the instrumental, but also the lyric match in a way that it represents how you feel at that moment. I recorded the song and I brought it back to the guys. I remember actually I played it for Thurston and Kim from Sonic Youth because I was deathly afraid that I had just totally like ripped off the Sonic Youth song somehow. And I said, oh, listen to this thing I just recorded. And they listened. I said, listen to this demo that I did. And they said, why is that a demo? Why isn't that the album? And it just felt so off the cuff and unofficial. I considered it to be a demo. We went in and we re-recorded it. And that's the song that you hear on the radio today. And, side note, I never considered doing it acoustically. I thought it was a rock song until I think it was the first time we did the Howard Stern show. Howard Stern loved the song. And when you do the Howard Stern show, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you don't want to touch an instrument or just get close to a microphone, but he asked that I play it acoustically. And so I did. And in a way, it gave the song a whole new rebirth. This is long after it was released, I think, but it gave the song kind of a whole new life. Because I think sometimes when I do it this way, it really does peel back a lot of the bells and whistles and the other noise when it's just the lyric and the guitar and my voice. I think it kind of makes the song feel the way I had always wished it felt. So I'll shut up now. This is a song called Everlong.